Welcome, everyone. My name is Kelly Dodge. I am a gold leader and I have been in the business just about 1 year. I am doing a training today on developing builders on your team. Typically, this is um, generally most helpful for silvers and above. But if you're here and you're not a silver yet, that's absolutely fine. This is still great training for you to learn so that you are developing your team correctly, I think, from the start. Not that my way is correct, but any pointers that you have um, are always helpful, right? We get a lot of input from a lot of people, and we kind of take a little from everybody and make it our own. So first, I just want to say that if you are brand new to team building, congratulations. You've decided to grow your team. It's an exciting thing, and it's very it can be a little bit of ups and downs, but if we persevere and continue on our commitment to build our team, it definitely is worth it. So the first thing that I like to ask is, what is your why? All right. If you think about what it is that you want out of this business, why you started this business, what is it that motivates you, that is going to help you understand why you're building your team, why you're building, and why is it the money? Are you just looking to be a mentor? Are you really just have a heart for teaching or training? What is the reasoning behind you wanting to build a team? And that will help us then when we are looking at mentoring others. So maybe it's financial for you. For me, a lot of it was financial. A lot of it is, I wanted money that I could depend on, and I wasn't going to leave money on the table. But that's not everyone's reason. All right. So sometimes it can go beyond the money. Sometimes they just want debt help. And I know that that's still money related, but maybe they are not looking to do this permanently. They maybe just want some temporary extra income. You just don't know what people are doing this for. Or maybe they just want to help people, as I touched on. Maybe they really enjoy training or teaching. Maybe that's their profession. Maybe they were a teacher or a trainer, and that's just natural for them to love to help to guide people. And so that is a possibility. Or it could be a little bit of everything, right? So I think it's important for you to identify your target group. All right. So that is where you are going to pull your prospects from. So what pool, so to speak, are you pulling people from? Where are you posting? What kinds of groups are you affiliated with? What is natural for you? Sometimes there are parents who have special needs children and they will find great success in this business. And so then they'll reach out to others, right? So all of these different things can be applicable to people's circumstances. And maybe it can be a mix of some of these things. But we know that this is a great opportunity for many people at different stages in their lives. But I think that sometimes it is nice to know what your target group is so that you can kind of hone the way that you are prospecting so that you can concentrate on one thing. I find myself a lot of times going, oh, well, should I go for single parents? Because I'm a single parent. Should I go for people with disabilities? Should I kind of promote that? Should I promote, our travel agent rates? Like there's so many different things. And then I get a little bit scattered, right? And I'm not able to put all of my energy into what my target group is, right? So if you're always going to get people that are maybe outside of your reasonings or your whys for doing this, but if you're able to relate to people, I think that it is very helpful, right? I have many people from many different walks of life, I suppose you would say, on my team, and sometimes it makes it difficult, right? If we aren't sure where someone's at or what their reasonings are, what their whys are. So I have people from people who are single moms and who are dead broke, right? And they're trying to use this opportunity to support themselves and their children, from retirees to empty nesters. I have homeschool moms on here. I have people who don't need the money even. They just want to book their own travel for the most part and then branch out into booking others. I have several people who are doing it just for that, mostly for the travel perks, right? So, and it's helpful to know where everyone is coming from because that is going to make it easier for you to coach and mentor them if you know what their why is. So, that's just, some food for thought. I've really been just very sporadic about where I'm pulling people from. I do resonate, with a couple of these things, but I find myself just grabbing anybody that needs employment or what have you, right? So understanding our why is going to help us identify our agent's why, right? Because we're going to be able to speak to what it is that they want and need, right? When we understand what drives a person, we understand what motivates them, right? So the summit is what drives us, but the climb itself is what matters, right? And this is going to relate by consistency, doing the same thing, paying attention to our daily tasks, paying attention to all of our efforts. Because if we just were to stare at, like, I want to be platinum, it can be very discouraging, right? If we're not there yet, or if we lose a couple of agents or things like that. So we have to kind of balance this, and we have to make sure that our actions every day are, income producing activities or things that are getting us closer to our goal itself, right? So, for me, sometimes, I can get lost and I can make Canva uh, designs all day long. I absolutely love it. I could sit and do that. But is that really income producing activity? To some degree, it's important to have things, but I have to catch myself and limit myself to how much I do those kind of mindless activities. For me, that's a mindless activity. It relieves some stress to get some creativity going. And so I have to make sure that I do keep my eye on the summit and what I'm doing daily, right? And making sure that, I have to ask myself. I actually set my alarm every single hour. My alarm on my phone goes off. I know that might seem excessive, but if you tend to get lost in things, that I think is a really good tip to do because I check my calendar then and I look at my calendar, I look at the training calendar and I say, am I supposed to be somewhere right now? Right. And that way I'm not late because in the beginning, I would get engrossed with things and I would go, oh man, it's 15 after. I really wanted to go to that training. Right. So this keeps me on track and doesn't let me get too far off of the path. So here's the truth, right? We talk about motivation all the time, right? But the truth is, you really can't motivate anyone, right? You can't motivate them definitely if you don't know what doesn't drive them, right? So we're not motivating them as much as we are speaking to what drives them, right? So, here's my funny example, right? So if you're dangling a carrot in front of someone, right, a prize or what have you, it's going to have an effect on different people. So this girl right here, right, maybe she likes sauerkraut, maybe she eats healthy and whatnot. If I try to entice her with pizza, she's not going to bite, right? And vice versa, right? So here I give you a gamer versus, a plant lover, right? Maybe a sports car versus someone who's more eco-friendly and they want to walk or ride their bike wherever they go, right? So there's going to be many different things that drive people. Not everyone is driven by money. Not everyone is driven by, the travel perks that we have in the industry. So knowing why they came is going to be really important. So this comes down to what's the fire in their belly, right? Let your passion spark a fire in your belly that feeds and motivates. So we need to know what it is that gets them up every single day in the morning, right? Is it their kids, their family that's depending on them? Do they want to build a legacy and a future? Is it that they love what they do for work? Is it that they love to help people, teach people? Is it, their animals, right? Even taking care of their animals. What's important to them? Do they love the nature and getting outside? Are they really, interested in making a difference? So there's a lot of things that get people out of bed in the morning. And, a lot of them are what makes them not quit, right? So these are all things that are going to drive us whether we want to or not, right? Even if we're not self driven, I think that these kinds of things are what are really going to drive them. And I think it's important to know every agent or even a prospect when we're talking to them to know why they're starting this, right? Why are they doing this? Do they have, someone that they need to take care of? And that's usually a someone or something that they need to take care of, right? Got to pay their bills, right? And so this is very good. If there's someone like I have several people on my team who have no financial worries at all, right? I have a girl who is set for life. She's completely set for life. She could sit home and not work. She has income coming in, right? And so I have another who is very, very successful in her full-time career. And she doesn't need to do this on the side, right? And so that is, me talking in the same kind of way to that type of a person versus a single mom is going to be completely different, right? And incentives. So if I'm giving away $100 to, for a team building incentive on my team, that isn't going to motivate people at all who are like, I don't really care about team building, right? That's not really what I want to do. That's not where I want to focus, right? Because they don't need the money. So I feel that it's very important to get to know each and every one of your agents on a deeper level. Okay. That relationship is going to be very important. Now, of course, there's boundaries that you do want to stay inside, right? You don't want to get too personal and, offend someone or creep them out or, cross any lines or anything like that. But I think that it's important to have a genuine relationship with everyone on your team, right? Get to know them. And I know there's going to be agents on your team who never communicate with you. It baffles me. I have no idea why. But you're going to have that. Sometimes you can get them to come around and sometimes you can't. But you want to pour into the people that are talking to you, that are reaching out and that are asking for help, right? Make sure that you always have an open line of communication with them. But, take a little bit of time. Every time you contact them, don't make it all about work, right? Leadership's not about being in charge. Leadership is about taking care of those in your charge. This has been my philosophy for a very long time. I have been in leadership for over 30 years. And I went to so many different seminars, leadership seminars, being a new manager, being a new supervisor, like all kinds of different things. And what I have learned throughout my career, and some of it's been being underneath someone who was not kind, right? Was more of a dictatorship and things like that. And what I learned is that no one is willing to work with someone who isn't kind. No one even wants to work with someone, let alone work under someone, right? And so, I honestly don't feel that I am the boss of anyone when I've ever been in a leadership position. My job is to help them, to take care of them, to make sure that they have what they need to succeed, because that's my role for the company, is to make sure that everyone is achieving their goals, that we are succeeding as a company, as a team, as a department, whatever, wherever it has been. And so me being available to my team is what I have always strived to do, right? Making sure that I am thinking of them, not just work wise, but on a personal level, right? And this is not a perfection. I'll tell you, I had an agent the other day that she's actually canceled on me a couple of times and on for one-on-ones. And then I had a one-on-one scheduled with her the other day. And she started messaging me early, and I was like, she's going to cancel on me again. And I was getting very, very irritated. I'm sure that it wasn't just her, other life stressors, but come to find out, she did have a very, very good reason why she had canceled her one-on-ones and why she was trying to not be there. She ended up getting there, but she was from her car, which I was very specific that she needed to be on a laptop on a Zoom so that we could, I could screen share and help. Uh, and I felt awful when I found out because I wasn't mean, but I said, "Look, you have wasted my time and I have a busy schedule. There's other people who would like it." And I kind of, before I even asked, "Is everything okay?" And I should have done that, right? "Is everything okay with you?" That's a really good thing to find out first, right? And I try to do that, but this is just me being transparent and telling you that I make mistakes too, right? I've apologized profusely to her. We had a great talk after that, but I wasn't proud of how I talked to her and how I came down on her, right? So, being a leader, I didn't scroll, is about being a servant, right? Leaders serve their teams. And if you have that mindset, people are more willing to rally with you to get the job done, right? You're leading by example, but you're, being very careful with them, right? Caring for them. So I think another great thing is to learn how they learn best, right? So a lot of times people will tell you right in the beginning when you have your conversation with them, when you're onboarding them and you're talking to them about the different types of training we have, I think that it's important to ask if it doesn't come up or if it's not apparent to you how people learn, right? I had a new agent the other day and he said, "I love videos. I love YouTube. That is the way I learn best. I use it for everything in all aspects of my life." Great. He's going to be one who's like wanting me to send him videos or point him in the right direction. Make sure that that's the way that he's set up. However, I had another girl the other day who was like, "I don't want any more videos. Don't send me any more videos." Right. She was just like, "No, that's not how she learns, right?" And so if I am being the same with everyone and not offering alternate types, they're not going to learn, right? So right from the very beginning, you're building this relationship. So I know we're talking about them becoming builders, right? But this is happening right from the very beginning. You want to make sure that you have that open line of communication. They have to know that you are receptive to their questions no matter how many times they ask a question. It may not actually, it'll seem like they've asked that question a million times, like you'll get sick of answering the same question, but it's a new question for them, right? They're brand new. Just because you've been asked what is the IATA number a million times by almost all the agents, right? It's okay, right? You're still going to get asked that question. And it is better to tell them the answer and then let them know where they can find it. Okay. So we do want to kind of reiterate to them that there are resources where they can find it, but I'm not going to just refuse to give them the answer. I'm going to give them the answer. Now, that's just my philosophy and my way of doing things, but people will get pretty ticked off if you don't give them an answer, and that can completely sabotage their entire career with us because they just get a bad taste in their mouth about it. So I think that it's really great to just say, just here's the IATA number. From now on, you can find it at, and I actually put it on the top of my spreadsheet that I give them with vendors and suppliers. It has all the contact numbers for every platinum, which I tell them to put in their phone, in their contacts, and I even tell them to put their the IATAN number in their phone, in their contacts under IATA. I think I learned that from Amy Cabrera or somebody watching a video. I was like, oh my gosh, that's so amazing. So at any rate, I think that you should answer their questions, and I think that you should then let them know where to find it. And so I did this the other day. I have an agent who is not my agent. She's not on my team in any way. She has a completely different platinum, and she has been reaching out to me. A lot of times people will come to trainings, they see me or a presentation, and they continue to contact me. And I try to make sure that I'm like, "Who's your platinum?" But she still messages me all the time. And she messaged me the other day with a question that she really could have gotten in so many places. And so I did tell her because it's becoming habit. I said, "You can find it," and I gave her 5 different places that she could find it, right? And so I think that me showing her that there were 5 places she could find it, I hope that that tells her, like, "Oh, I probably should have looked somewhere for the answer before I asked," right? And so I wouldn't start with that, but maybe give them the answer and then tell them, the different places they can find it. Or I'll say, "Have you watched the training video on how to book a Carnival cruise?" Right? "Have you watched a" "Oh, no, I haven't. Maybe I should do that first." "Maybe you should." Right? So those are the kind of things, because you don't want people to be helpless, right? Sarah says it all the time, teach them to fish, and they'll be fine. So they have to know where to find the answers, but I think it's okay to give them the answer, but remind them where to find that answer, right? Because if you shut them down, they're going to stop coming to you. Right. Someone said, another platinum probably said in a training not too long ago, they said, don't be upset when they're coming to you asking you tons of questions. Be worried when they don't, because if you're not receptive, they will stop coming to you for answers, right? And that's when you really need to worry, because if they don't feel they can come to you, they're probably not going to feel they can come to anyone else, right? Because I mean, if you're their direct mentor or their gold or what have you, you should be receptive to them. So I also think it's important to lead by example and be transparent. All right. So a leader leads by example, whether he intends to or not. Right. So people are going to say or do what we do, not do what we say. Right. And so we have to match. We have to walk the walk and talk the talk. We have to match exactly what we're doing. So I think that there has to be a thin line between being transparent and being encouraging, upbeat, and positive. What do I mean by that? I mean that I think that it's okay to let them know if we're having a rough day a little bit. Now, we're not going to complain, right? Gripe up. We're not going to complain or anything like that. But I think it's important that they understand that your life is not all roses and rainbows, right? So if you put up the front that everything is just so easy for you when it's not easy for them, they're going to think that it's them. They're going to think there's something wrong with them, that they are not building fast or they're not booking right, whatever it is, right? They're going to see that there's some kind of a defect in themselves, right? It's human nature. And so if we are upfront with them all the time and let them know this is hard. You're going to have ups, you're going to have downs, there's going to be highs, there's going to be lows. Like you may see me as gold, but that doesn't, mean that it's easy. That doesn't mean that I haven't worked my butt off, right? I'm very, very upfront with them about how many hours I work, right? I don't try to pretend that I'm not working my butt off all the time, right? Now, I'm not against anybody taking vacation or days off or anything like that. But when they're looking to me and thinking to themselves, how has she done this? How did she do this? Right? What is it that she's doing that I'm not doing? I'm going to let them know I work hard for this, right? And so they'll know they have to work hard for it as well without you telling them, you can't take any days off. You can't. And I've said that many times. Like, I don't deserve a day off until I'm making a ton of money, right? And so I do work this business 7 days a week. I haven't stopped one day working this business. I may have taken like half days in the morning or evening or something, but I have worked this business every single day without fail since I started June 9th of last year. And I am working quite a bit of hours. I work at least 12 hours a day. At least 12 hours a day. I go on 4 to 6 hours of sleep every single night. And if I wake up in the middle of the night, you darn bet that I'm going to start working my business if I can't sleep, right? Sometimes I'm forcing myself to keep my eyes open, right? So now, I know that that might seem discouraging to some people, like, well, I don't want to work that much. But in all actuality, if they are looking to build a business, right, not just do this as a hobby, it takes a lot of hard work to get there, right? And eventually we can be like Charles Lee, right? Where we joke and say he works an hour a week, right? Like he really is kind of just set up, right? But, and he's been in the business just how many years, right? And so if you can build something like that in that amount of time, people go to college longer than that, right? And work really, really hard studying and working and whatnot. If you can go, 6 years or so, whatever it is, and you can 8 years. 8 years, right? 8, 9, trying to remember. But if you can go that many years and build and then, have, a really great life after that, it's absolutely worth it, right? Otherwise, I mean, what are you going to get? You're still going to be working, a factory or a nursing job or whatever, and you're working 12-hour shifts and you're still tired anyway. So, right? Anyway, I could go on. And I do. So I want you to make sure that you're sharing any tips or tricks along the way and encourage your team to share their ideas and expertise. This, I think, is very, very important. Sometimes we have a tendency to think if someone's brand new, they don't know anything, but that's absolutely the farthest from the truth, right? When you come from a background, you have all of those years of experience and value and knowledge and wisdom that you have taken from every job you've ever had, right? So we have all of that, and we need to be able to be open and receptive to all of our agents, brand new or not, to share all of their ideas, right? We never know when there's going to be some kind of out of the box idea that someone has that is going to be really beneficial, right? Nina Bird, we've had that recently with Randy and Nina doing this whole different thing on the way that they are driving traffic to their webpage or group that they have, right? And if you don't know about that, you can message me after and I can direct you that way. So that is completely different from anything that we've ever done. And so if we were closed off to new ideas, then we could miss that, right? And I know that I have gotten su- a lot of success from doing what she's doing. And it has also, just because I'm doing that, it has actually started, it just skyrocketed my ability to earn money on Facebook. Right. So I'm getting Facebook bonus, right? Or I think they call it performance bonus, right? So like last month was the first month and I did it and I made over $50. I know that doesn't seem like a lot of money, but but I didn't have that $50 before and I'm not really doing much different. I'm just, kind of tweaking what I'm doing. And this month we're only halfway through the month and I've already made 60 some dollars already this month. Right. And so that's another stream of income that's really just, it just happens to I mean, it's great, right? And I've heard Krista talk about how like you can get money from, YouTube or TikTok or just multiple income streams, Rakuten, all those kinds of things that are going to help. At any rate, um just always remember also that your way is not the only way, right? There are many ways to, I don't even want to say it. I was going to say a saying that they say, and it's not, I don't think it's kind of gross, but there are so many ways to do things, and one way isn't always the right way, unless, you have to follow company policy or something like that, right? But make sure that you're encouraging critical thinkers to shout out ideas, give ideas, have brainstorming sessions, those kinds of things, so that you can get different and new ideas. Brainstorming sessions. See, that's why I was leading. Brainstorming sessions are awesome, right? So some very casual Zoom meetings with your team, anybody who wants to jump on, let them know. I've done this before. I still have the flyer from when I do brainstorming sessions with my team, just to get on. Let's talk about how we can gain clients. Let's talk about how we can do this or that, right? So this is really nice, and this is building your relationship and your team building, not the team building like we're talking, or what this is focused on, but team building, like building your team to be stronger, to work together. I love the fact that our team that I have is very, very much in tune with each other. They basically now kind of take care of each other. I have a very, very active chat that goes on all day long. They're in this chat. And I do have a pretty core, set of like 10 or so that are the most active in that chat, but they help each other out. They go there, they ask questions, and they're answering each other's questions. They're learning from each other. somebody talks about uplift and now they all are trained and certified to do uplift for clients. Like one talks about something and they go because they just do have that really great unit, right? And they're all from different legs of mine. Like they're all not, they're just have gotten to know each other. They help each other. They've done Zooms together, just them. Like I've had two people on a Zoom because I have a booking beast, and she is sharing what she's doing with a couple of different people. And so having that really nice core unit and having a very nice culture within your team is going to be very helpful. So plan your leadership approach. And I hadn't really thought about the differences in the training. And like I said, I've been training for over 30 years. I've been a corporate trainer. I've had a training role in every position that I've had. And so I am pretty used to training, but I loved when I found this little diagram that shows the different kinds of mentoring, right? Because there are different ways. And especially when we are in, this age of working online, although I have two agents that recruit, you know what I mean, locally. And they actually do. I have a real estate agent and she brings people into her real estate office. She has people enrolled that are locally to her. And so she actually does do in person, but most of us are doing it online, right? And so there are definitely different ways, and there's going to be different strategies that we're going to use depending on what we're trying to teach them or what we want them to learn, et cetera. And so I thought that this was pretty, we wear many hats, right? And mentor, we say mentor a lot, but we do wear all of these hats, right? Including, coaching, right? Which I don't see the word coaching on here, but that definitely could fit in. So strong people don't put each other's down, they lift each other up. I think that it's very important if you want to maintain a good relationship with your team that you're always being motivational, that you're being understanding, caring, and kind to them. Because I will tell you, it won't just destroy the relationship with the one person because they will go and they will talk to other people. It's just human nature. As soon as that someone is wronged by someone, they are contacting anyone else that knows you and they're going to be talking, right? And then it just blows up from there. It's like work gossip kind of stuff, right? And that is a virus on your team, an absolute virus on your team. So you have to be very careful, I think, in how you treat people. Just be very respectful and kind, right? And it is going to do so much for the culture of your team. Be an encourager. The world has enough critics already, right? So, um, I think that we could go on, telling someone what they did wrong, but that isn't going to be helpful to them at all, right? We're going to say, that's okay. Now you'll know for next time. And we're going to tell them what they should have done, right? They're already going to feel bad about it, right? There's no reason to come down on them, right? And, we're not anybody's boss. So, it just makes sense to, be kind whenever you can. Be consistent. So do what you need to do in order to keep up with your communication with your team. If that means setting reminders for you, if that means going through your list, I don't delete any of my messages. All right. I don't delete Facebook messages. I don't delete texts with clients or with agents. Right. I shouldn't say clients, I have prospects, right? So I will have people that I have been talking to since last July when I started team building in July. And I still have every conversation that I've had with them because that is very helpful because I can know what we talked about. And once you get a lot of people, I think it's important to kind of give yourself a little bit of a refresher if you don't have a great memory, which once you get older, let me just tell you, that your memory goes, right? So we want to make sure that we are remembering some certain things, facts, right? Maybe you take notes, maybe you have a little profile or something on every agent where you write down a little something about them. If they've told you their husband's name or their spouse's name or their kid's name, their pet's name, you can find out what's really important to people about what they talk about. And so if they're mentioning things like that, I think it's important to remember those things because it makes everybody feel good, like, "Oh, wow, they remembered that," right? And so keep up with their communication. And the thing about the communication is, you want to be touching base with your agents at least once a week. I know that there's so much for us to do, but just check in with them, especially if it's not someone that you're hearing from all the time. Like I talked about my 10 people who are super, super active. I don't need to really reach out to them, but if I haven't heard from them in a couple days, I wonder. As a matter of fact, the culture that we have is that Corey said, "I just want to let you guys know I won't be posting in here very much or as active in this chat because my sister's in town from Wisconsin, and then we're going to Panama City for a quick little vacation. So I just wanted to let you guys know, right? So you can tell the kind of relationship that we all have. She's telling the whole team, "Hey, I'm going to be kind of off the grid a little bit," right? And so that's how close the team is. So variations. So vary the way that you communicate. If one thing's not working, do something else. I have agents that have a cell phone, they have a cell number, but they never communicate with me on it. They always communicate with me on Messenger. So however it's working best, use that. And so I will, if I'm not getting a response from text, maybe I'll message them, maybe I'll email them, right? So I try to vary the way and then I stick with what works best. Or you can even ask them too when they start, what's the best way to communicate with you, right? Because for me, I want them to text me, right? Because I always have my text there and I don't have to delete, right? I like the notifications or the whatevers. I don't know. But other people, everybody's different, right? So, and then again, I mentioned this earlier, don't always make it about business, right? Because it is important to get to know people. And the last thing that you want is for someone to only be contacting you at the end of the month when they want to know, are you getting one more agent? Are you going to hit your next goal? Are you going to make it to bronze? Are you going to make it to silver or whatever? Or there you can tell when people are only contacting you when they want something from you, right? And that's in all actuality what we're doing if we're just waiting to contact them about other things. It's always great to check in on people, see how they're doing, how can I help. Haven't heard from you in a week or so. Is everything going okay? Is there anything I can send you, right? Again, we are serving them, right? I don't know if that's a popular opinion, but we are serving them, right? That is exactly what our job is, right? And I could say, it's on you, it's your own business, whether you succeed or fail. But honestly, it's also my success, right? It's your success. If your clients or if your agents are successful, then you're successful, right? If you're team building, you know how much easier it is for people to be building with you than you to be building it on your own. All right. So people will grow in the right environment. If you've ever known someone who just was really struggling and having a hard time, and maybe they quit their job that was completely toxic and they're somewhere else and it's just like they're a completely different person, because people will grow when they're in the right environment, right? So walk the walk, talk the talk, right? So if you're telling them to do something or advising them or coaching them to do something, make sure it's something that you're doing yourself, right? If you're not doing it, you can explain why, right? There are going to be different things that'll work for different people. All right. So show them your backstage. All right. So show them your rehearsals as well. So you want to make sure that you are giving them the reality of your day to day, right? And show them your prep. So, like I said earlier, like people will look at us and they will say, oh, they're so successful, right? But there are no overnight successes. There are absolutely none. You could look at, Bill Gates or whoever, Warren Buffett or whatever, and you can say, wow, they're an overnight success. Look at them. But I guarantee you, they worked really, really hard. They worked some 12, 16-hour days, right? For a long time, right? I'm sure that they have worked and worked and worked in order to have what they have. So there are no overnight successes. And so we need to be very transparent again with them to an extent, right? We don't want to be down and out, right? If we have a bad day, we don't want to like completely complain and bitch and moan about it. Sorry, excuse my French, but we do need to, be a little bit real with them so they understand when they have a bad day that this is normal, right? And show them our rehearsals. So show them what it is that we are doing behind the scenes, what we do. Day in the life kind of a thing, right? Like, what should I be doing every day? And there's some checklists around, but I've made a little more in-depth checklist to give people an idea of what they should be doing every day if they want to work their business. And maybe they don't get to everything the entire day, but they have some kind of a guide to know, because it's hard to know. And I love to see what people do, a day in the life, right? Those are some of my favorite videos to watch, like on YouTube. And I loved it when Jody Risky did, a day in the life of a $1 million booker and a team builder. And so that was very informative. Go check it out. I'm pretty sure it's recorded. So also show them the preparation. So this whole thing is, you want them to learn how to be leaders, right? You don't want to be taking all of their agents under your wing, right? I got plenty, you're going to end up with plenty of agents that you'll have to take under your wing because somewhere someone quits and then they no longer have a mentor or a direct sponsor, right? That happens. And so you're already going to have enough people. So anybody who has a team and they're still active, we need to make sure that we are coaching them and showing them how to do the preparation, how to do whatever it is that you're doing behind the scenes. It's important to teach them that, right? And I know it takes extra time, but if you develop a good leader and a good builder, they're going to be able to go out on their own and they're going to do the same thing over and over. So one thing I do, I have a brand new agent. She's been in less than 30 days and she got two prospects right off the bat. She enrolled two new agents right off the bat. And so she's brand new, right? She barely got to do any training before she did that. I think she was 7 days in, 5 days in, and she had her first agent. 5 days, that's right. She was less than a week. So she didn't know what we were doing. So here's a great tip: create a group text or a group messenger of the 3 of you, right? So your brand new agent that has a brand new agent, all 3 of you are going to be in this little group, right? And so you let your new agent, you let your daughter mentor your granddaughter, right? You let that conversation go on. And then on the side, you can direct message your brand new mentor, right? To what to do and say. And so I will direct message Lana, and I will say, okay, now please invite her to the Facebook group. Now send her the vendor and supplier spreadsheet. Now send her this. But the new agent has no idea that I'm doing that, right? All they see is their mentor mentoring them, right? And I'm guiding it. I can see questions, right? And if she doesn't know the answer to the question that her new agent's asking her, she can sidebar me and say, okay, what do I say? What do I do? And that's where copy and paste really comes in really great. And so your brand new agent, it has no idea, right? And honestly, so Lana's learning a ton because I'm telling her how to mentor, and so she's learning so much, and I'm showing her how to create the right environment, and I'm showing her how to be a leader, showing her how to coach, showing her how to do all the things that she needs to do to onboard someone and coach them, right? But like I say, now maybe someday that the agent's going to watch this, but that's the best way to do it, because then you know what's going on. You know what, if for some reason they tell them or advise them something that's not right, you know about it and you can see it and you can, have them correct themselves or what have you. Right. And sometimes I will chime in and pop in because, like, why else would I be in the group and they can see me there? And so I will make sure that I'm sending updates. Like, I'll send, if I'm doing a training or what have you, I'll send it into that group, right? Because that's now a group for that team, right? For whatever leg that is. And so I'll send it so they see that I'm active in there and they see that their mentors there. So That's just a really great thing to do to make it easier because then they don't have to text you and ask you, my agent asked me such and such, and I don't know the answer. You can have all of these little circles of your teams so that everybody's on the same page, right? Because sometimes people will give answers that they don't know are wrong. They'll have no idea they're wrong, right? Because we don't know we're wrong until we find out that we're wrong. We're going to assume that's the right way. And so it's just, especially when someone is very, very new, like my agent is so very new that it just really works out best. But if you get in the habit of doing that, I think it's a really good idea because your focus needs to be to develop builders, right? So you want them to be builders, you're training them how, you're training them how by how you're what you're doing, but you have to be able to show them the backstage and the preparation and what you do daily, right? So, and you can create little checklists for them to send, like, okay, when you're going to onboard an agent, here's what you do, right? And I know there's probably some documents floating around, but you can obviously recreate. Copy it, maybe add your own little tweak to it, especially if you have your own Facebook group or something like that. But your main goal, I want to say too, is when you're onboarding someone, and this is something you need to train your new agents on. When you're onboarding someone, you need to make sure that you are having a one on one with them within the first week, right? You need to make sure that you are communicating with them every single day and asking them, sending them something. So you want to be communicating with them because you don't want them to lose interest and not ever start. I have agents who joined and did nothing. Like they did, I don't even think that they did completed their training, right? I was brand new back then and I didn't know. I had no idea. I was kind of a little bit it felt awkward to contact them. This is the first time that I've been in leadership in a completely remote job, right? So it's a little bit different, and so I had to learn the hard way, right? People drop because they just didn't do anything, and they're like, "Well, now I'm wasting my money because I didn't make any money, right? So I'm gonna just quit." So we have to make sure that we have retention because turnover is expensive, right? So in a normal corporation, turnover is very expensive, but it's even expensive for us, right? Because you've put time and effort into people, and if they leave, it feels like a waste, right? And then if you are not making money, but because you aren't building or keeping whatever status you have, then that is an expensive thing as well, right? So we want to just, I think that the key to it all is just to make sure that we're maintaining a really great atmosphere and a relationship with whoever is on our team. Anyone, right, within the company. We want to make sure that we have a great relationship with them. And so I think that that's going to be your key to success, right? And then, just lastly, even so, like, if you have a relationship with them and you've gotten to know them a little bit, then they're gonna feel a little guilty if they just want to quit. They're gonna at least, I actually had an agent who came, I won't say who it is, but she came to me and she was ticked and she's like, I'm ready to quit. But I felt I owed it to you to talk to you first. And that told me right then and there she didn't really want to quit or she would have just quit, right? But she didn't quit and I talked to her. There was some misunderstanding about, and it didn't have any, she wasn't trying to quit because of anything I did, but she was very, very upset. And she was like, I'm just going to chuck this whole thing. And so I talked to her and she didn't quit, right? And she's not going to quit, but she was having a bad day. But had I not had a relationship with her to talk to her about it, then I wouldn't have known, right? Because I did have another agent who quit, and when I said, "What happened?" You were like, "I thought we were doing so great." And she said, "I'm mad because Archer didn't pay my commission." And I was like, When did your people travel?" And it hadn't even been 30 days. And I was like, Okay. No, I had tried to reach out to her. I mean, and I did have one-on-ones with her even, but she wasn't keeping great communication with me. And so that was a failure in training, I think, that she did not understand the concept of when we get paid, right? Because I've had agents say things like, well, Archer shouldn't hold on to the money. And so they don't even understand how it works. Like Archer's not holding on to the money, right? So there's different things. And so if we're in communication and they're getting educated, then they're going to know those things. So I am going to open it up for questions.